To make concern, it's a cool podcast. Listen with your friends or listen with your dog, man. Subscribe today or I'll be in your closet. To make concern, that's a really cool podcast. Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of To Make Concern. We are back once again with another episode for y'all. My name is Will, and the man to my right is Steven. And if you've never seen the podcast before, this is where I bring up topics that he will respond to. He may not know what I'm talking about, but hey, I think the real topics that's important to us is the friends we made along the way. How are you today, Steven?
I'm doing great. I woke up.
No one cares. All right.
Well, okay. I mean,
sorry, that was me.
No, it's
that
fine.
I apologize.
That's completely fair.
I actually
honestly.
did want to know how your day was, because
you know what,
starting Auburn and everything. I imagine it gets kind of depressing up there, knowing that your football team is not good.
I really couldn't care less about our football team. We haven't been good in like the last decade. But anyway,
I had some good years. I had some good years a few years ago.
Yeah, may I remind you of 2013?
Yeah, that was 11. I was about to say that was in the past decade, but no, that was 11.
No, it wasn't.
Ago.
It was more than a decade ago. That's just one of the ones I remember.
Old. It just hit me now how old we are.
Yeah.
I was thinking 2013. I was like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. It's 11 years ago.
That only gets worse as you get older.
We just started this podcast with me having a midlife crisis.
That's gonna be a title of the episode. Will has a midlife crisis in the middle of the podcast.
No, at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, at the start of the podcast, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, I woke up today.
Good job. We're all proud of you.
You should be. You have no idea how hard it is sometimes.
That sounds kind of sad. Like, I have no idea how hard it is
to get out of the bed.
Point?
Yeah, what is the point? That's an honest question. What is the point, Will? Enlighten me. What is the point?
That's the point right there.
The joke was so bad that it took me like 5 seconds to actually get it, and then after I got it, it still wasn't funny. That's how bad the joke was.
And for the people listening to us right now, not watching, they have no idea what I just did.
Yeah.
So for context, I just pointed my finger at Steven.
Basically. Or at the camera, but same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I woke up today, and then the flight that I was supposed to do got canceled, so I sat around Actually, I didn't sit around. I was talking to my roommate about competitive Pokemon, because he's currently very addicted to competitive Pokemon.
Competitive Pokemon?
Yeah, apparently that's a thing.
What differentiates competitive Pokemon to regular Pokemon? Because from what I understand, Pokemon is just a video game. Like, I understand card game.
Because Pokemon
is that the card game you're talking about?
No, it's because the video game Pokemon is a single player game, right? You play it by yourself, but there exists like not like unofficial versions of the game that are like PvP multiplayer. The one in particular that my roommate's been grinding is actually a Minecraft mod pack, so it's like Pokemon in Minecraft.
What?
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I don't know either, but that's what he's been doing.
So it's basically like Pokemon battles, or like PvP.
Yeah, basically, and it's also Minecraft.
Yeah, the more I think about it, that's actually a cool idea. Why isn't there an official version of that? That's like, because like the more I think about it, like all you do in the games is just go against AI, right?
Yeah, well, in some of the newer games, like the Switch ones, the ones that are on the Switch, you can go play against other players, but you have to actually have friends for that.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww, what a tragedy.
Yeah, friends required. But so yeah, I yapped with him for probably close to an hour and a half.
Y'all having your yap session.
Yes, we were having a very long yap session, and let me tell you, there was a lot of yapping. And then I went to my college's dining hall to get some food, and then I came back, and then I set up, and now we're recording the podcast
Wait,
for you
hold on, time
guys.
out, time out. Your dining is still open at college?
Yeah, well, it's open for less hours. Like the amount of like
Oh.
when they're open is less. Like they're open less, and only one of the two dining halls that we have is open as well.
From what I understand, the dining hall over in Jacksonville, like they just closed, like for the summer.
Well, that's just because Jacksonville is not as good as Auburn.
That's allegedly. That's an allegation right there. It's allegedly not as good. And I mean, like, you know what we should do? We should visit each other's colleges and rate the dining room food.
I would genuinely would come eat at Jacksonville State's dining hall and rate the food. I would actually do that.
Once we get back to college, once I get back to college, he's already there.
Unfortunately.
Once we have college like the semester going, we'll do that. We'll visit each other's colleges and we'll rate each other's colleges like as an outsider.
Yeah, that's gonna be a special episode for the
special episode.
Yeah,
we're gonna release it as a YouTube short.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut out a lot.
Each college gets 30 seconds of coverage.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, speaking of,
we might make a full video on it because I think a while ago I brought up the idea of having a extra channel.
Yeah, that's who making certain extras to do.
But
like...
the more I think about it, I feel like we might as well just go ahead and just release it on this channel because this channel is just called To Make a Concern. It's not like it's specifically our handle is podcast, but our main our main name is just To Make Sense. We can post anything we want here, theoretically.
We can do anything we want. We can post podcast episodes, racist memes.
Well, we can post whatever within the limits of the TOS and the rules. So don't forget that. And also, like. All right. That aside,
oh yeah. The other thing I was gonna say. Well, actually, I can talk about it later.
All right.
Let's get on. Let's get this.
So,
get this episode
later
rolling.
Topic aside, let's get to the first topic. I was wanting to talk about this last week, but I didn't find a good place to really talk about it. But I saw the new Inside Out movie recently.
Oh, the second Pixar. One that they made, the one that we said that
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Even though I didn't talk about it, I kind of related it, something we were talking about to Inside Out. We were doing a lyrical analysis, and I related it to a missing Inside Out. Oh no, I said a stolen Inside Out character.
The podcast the title for last week's episode that we did was "We Found the Lost Inside Out Emotion." I think what it was.
Yeah, I just find how we're talking about the Inside Out movie now and not last week when we had that title.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what we do here To Make Sense. We defy all expectations.
Chronological order? What's that?
We'll release a video that's called the review of Inside Out 2, and we're just going to talk about NFL.
Yeah.
That's just what we do.
Because the title of the episode...
That's just kind of what we do.
The title of the episode usually comes from just something that we said about one of the topics somewhere in the episode. That usually, whenever you see the title of the episode,
in that episode's case, we did talk about that thing that the title was referencing, but it had nothing to do with the actual movie. It was just a part of a theory that we were speculating.
I actually already forgot what song it was that we were doing the analysis of.
we were doing an analysis of the song "Sound of Silence," and we basically personified silence as an extra Inside Out emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we did.
And so, so you seen the movie before or after we did that episode?
I say before the episode.
Okay.
Like, I think when I messaged you initially about doing another podcast, that was on my way to see that movie.
Wow.
So,
and yet we didn't talk about it at all during the podcast, where we literally referenced the movie to do the lyrical analysis, and yet we didn't.
Well, by the time we talked about it in that part of the podcast, it was at the end. That was like the last topic. So that was like the end of the episode we were getting towards. But
yeah.
So yeah, that's.
Also, for reference, for the audience's reference, I have not seen this movie, so anything that Will talks about will be something that I will not know about.
All right. Well, I'm not necessarily going to talk about the movie. Like, I'm going to talk about the movie, but I'm going to talk more about the the success of this movie and people's reaction to this movie.
Oh yeah.
So to give some context for this, Disney has kind of been sucking
on the lately. Decline.
They've been sucking. Like their past few movies have just like they've not performed well, and they haven't been. I
think there was actually a YouTube video that was made by Film Theory back when MatPat was still doing those. That was actually about like the downfall of Disney and how like Disney he basically was saying like Disney is on their way out essentially. Which I don't know if that's.
I'll get to that.
I don't know if that's entirely true, but that was at least one person on the internet's opinion.
Yeah, and I'll get to that. Also, I just now realized I was going to give you homework for this episode, but I forgot. and it's a Film Theory video.
I would have watched it too. That's the funny part.
But again, we'll get to that when we get to that. We're derailing again. To make sense, that's just kind of what we do. That's the title of this podcast episode. It's kind of what we just do.
Yeah, it's like we have a set of rails, which is the general schedule that we follow, but all of those rails are just incredibly twisted and broken, and so
so it's impossible for a train to go through it because it's just gonna like go in all directions.
Yeah, pretty much. That's just the To Whom It May Concern podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah. To Whom It May Concern, we derail things.
That's gonna be the tagline. That'll be the title of the episode. To Whom It May Concern.
That's the slogan. That's the slogan of this company.
Yeah, this company.
Yeah, we're a company.
We're a company.
In case you didn't know, we're actually a big corporation.
Will, what were our quarterly profits for the Q2 of this year?
Negative million again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. How much debt are we in again at this point? I forgot what the number was at this point.
More than the national, I can say that much for sure.
Okay, yeah.
So, okay. Trying to bring it back to topic. So Disney have been struggling for a while. Not only the Disney movies, but their Marvel movies have been struggling. Basically, Disney has just been struggling with making good movies. Now, the reason why that is, you could theorize a bunch of different reasons why.
There's probably plenty of theories out there. I think I've heard some theories that it may have had something to do with that writers' strike that was going on a little while ago, to where like they were basically not being able to write as good of scripts for their movies as before because they just didn't have as good writing team. But that was just a speculation that I read, and I have no way of knowing.
I will say the writer's strike is definitely a byproduct of like the frustrations with the entire industry. So it's not that the writer's strike meant that lesser writers were coming in. It's that no writers were coming in to work on stuff.
That's what I meant. Basically,
at least not ones that wanted to be paid. I'll say that much.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, but like I
I
said,
don't know, maybe there was one guy out there who was like, oh, I'll work for free. That's fine.
yeah, that was just a speculation that I saw that that might have been causing an issue. I don't
So
think I saw any like conclusive proof that that was the actual cause. So
there's a lot of determining factors in this, but basically the point I'm trying to make is Disney really needed a successful movie again, and for that successful movie, you know what they had to do?
make a successful
It,
movie.
it's quite simple actually. The key ingredient to make a successful movie is making one that's, get this,
Good.
actually good.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that was the main critique for a while. It's just that Disney movies just haven't been good. Whether it be like the writing was bad or animation was bad or something was just bad.
They've also been doing recently. They've also been doing a lot of live action remakes of a lot of their older movies.
Yep, live action remakes. And it's just like they've just been doing nothing but just remakes and sequels.
The thing is, like,
ironic.
you would think that because the movies they're doing the remakes of are often movies that did very well back when they like first came out. They're good movies that Disney made, but the live action remakes that they've made are just such bad remakes that nobody likes them.
They are. It's to the point where it's not even about like fixing the original. It's just about cashing off the original.
Yeah.
Like, because the most recent ones, you can just tell they're not even trying. Like, they're not even trying with it. They're just, it really just shows how desperate they were to make a profit.
One of the ones that I know of in particular was the one that they did of the Little Mermaid. I haven't seen it, but I did see quite a bit of criticism online for that one.
Yeah, that was just one where it's just like they just like the story, the movie is just like beat for beat, basically. Like no, like barely any changes, and the changes they do make, it's just like they don't provide anything like useful or helpful or even like positive to the movie. It's just a degrade of the original.
Down. It's a
and on top of that, it's like it's not a new story, so like any surprises are just gone.
It's what you sometimes see in the video game industry. Sometimes people like to call a demake, which is basically a remake that's worse than the original.
Demake. That's a good term. All right, so all that is to say, Disney have been struggling. So now you got this movie, Inside Out 2. And the thing you gotta understand with Inside Out is it's a movie, like, do you at the very least know the concept or have seen the first one?
Yeah, I have seen the first one, just not the second one.
Okay, so you know it's a movie about a 12-year-old girl named Riley, and it's about her emotions.
Yeah, it's basically the theme. The whole concept of the movie is basically if your brain had a brain.
if you want, if your brain had tiny other brains.
It's like what goes on in your brain. It's like a cartoon imagination of that. Basically, yeah, the emotions are personified as people and such. That's like the main thing that goes on with it.
Yeah, and it's a type of plot that like lends itself well into sequels. Like this movie takes place when Riley is like 15 or something. I forgot exactly. I think it's 15. It's like early teenage years. Like the first movie was just about like kind of like preteen or like a tween, but like this movie is like early teenage years. So it's like it's a movie concept that could lend itself into multiple sequels, which a lot of the other sequels weren't. I mean, like Wreck-It Ralph. What was the point of making a sequel to that? And like other movies too. It's just like no point in making a sequel to them when looking at it on narrative basis. Like there's just nowhere you could really take it that could be done better. You know what I mean? But this movie, one of the reasons why it worked so well as well as it did was because this concept can be expanded, and like new emotions are introduced in this second movie, like anxiety, boredom, embarrassment, and envy. Those are new emotions that this movie like explores, that like get developed in your like during puberty and teenage years. You know what I mean? So yeah, Inside Out 2, just great movie. I love it, and it's just as good as the first one. It's just great movie. They really did this movie good. They just like the writing was good, the animation was good, just everything about it was good. It really showed that they were putting effort into this movie, and it paid off because this movie, as of right now, I'm pretty sure it's in the billions at like the box office, which is where they just like it shows like the profits that this movie is making.
Right.
So that should, in theory, send a message to Disney that the movies that
if
are
you
most
actually
profitable
if you
are the ones
actually
that are
make
actually
good movies, if you actually make good
like, even if
movies,
it's a sequel,
you'll make
as
money.
long as like, here's the thing: even if it's a sequel to a movie that already exists, if you expand on it and create new ideas for it, it can still work. If you just make sequels and you do the same shit, it's not going to be good.
I think, like, because you also mentioned, right, that the original Inside Out movie is a concept that lends itself well to writing a sequel because it's expandable. So another thing for Disney to consider.
So if you're going to do sequels, like, or make original IPs to make sequels off of, do ones that are expandable.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
It doesn't just make sense. It makes sense not only on a financial level, but on a creative level as well. Like, I mean, look at the Spider-Verse movies. Those are ones that are like good for expanding. They got a part 1 movie that was hugely successful, and there's a part 2 that might be even more successful. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, single movies are good, but if you're gonna be on this like sequel wave, at least make them like off of IPs that can be expanded. Don't just make remakes or sequels on movies that work better as standalone movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. So that's what I thought about Inside Out 2 and, like, you know, the movie industry. I think, and here's the thing about that statement about Disney being dead. This guy I watched called Nostalgia Critic, he has a video where it's not, I don't think it's in Catch, I think it's just Doug Walker talking, but he made a really good point about how, if you look at the history of Disney, they've had slumps before where they were, like, trying out bad quality movies. But then in those slumps, they have those moments where they come back and they start making good films again. And he says that he believes that the same thing will happen with Disney eventually. Like, eventually, they'll start making good movies again and like get out of that slump. Like, when they're in that slump and they're like in that moment where if they don't continue to create successes, they will fail. That's when they're at their creative. That's when they're at their creative best.
Yeah.
So I think basically, that could very well happen with Disney.
Basically, they're at the point. It just
makes sense financially to just make good product because it's pretty clear that the bad stuff they were putting out is not going to cover them anymore. So it's like
it's
no point.
It's basically them being at a point where they're going to realize like they're making all of these low quality, low effort movies, whether it be original ones that they didn't put much thought into or remakes that are just poorly done. And these movies are costing them a lot of money to do and are not making them a lot of money because people don't like them because they are lower quality. And so they're not making a profit. So it comes to a point where they're eventually going to realize, and like you said with Inside Out 2, is a movie that they put actual effort into, and it did really well. They're going to realize that they have to actually make good content in order to make a profit, and that's going to bring the quality of their content back up. Because companies care... The only thing that companies care about is what makes them money. And the only thing that Disney cares about is what makes them money. They're going to make what makes them the most money. So if what makes them the most money...
And what makes the most money is good movies.
Right. So when they figure that out, then they're going to...
right now, you know, it's like...
Yeah.
They need to make good movies to make a profit.
Basically, what's going to happen is, in order for Disney to stay around and still be relevant, they have to make better movies in order to make more money, because if they continue to make low quality movies, they're just going to go out of business. So either
Yes.
Disney's going to make better movies or they're going to stop existing. So you don't have to worry
Basically.
about the continued bad Disney movies. You're either going to get good Disney movies or no Disney movies. That's your two options.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that was a good discussion on that. So this next topic, have you seen the meme that's going around about, like, whenever old people are at Walmart and they like use the card reader, and
Oh.
then the card reader says, "All right, the card's done," and it's beeping at them, take the card out, and they just sit there and doing nothing, just like
Yeah. No, I've seen that meme,
like,
and I just want to point out, like, as someone who worked at a grocery store for 2 years, I want to point out just how accurate that meme is. Old people
really?
when I worked at Publix, old people really do just stand there while the card machine beeps at them. And most of the time the cashier will actually have to say, "Hey, your card's ready for you to pull it out." And they'll be like, "Oh." Like they just realize it right then. Like the machine's beeping the whole time. That meme is accurate. That is a real thing that actually happens.
yeah, I should have known you would have had firsthand knowledge on this, being a Publix employee. And it's just one of those things where it's like, what else can we really do to get old people attention to like let them know their card's done?
I
Like,
would
feel like
say
the old-
I would say like put a message on the screen that says it's done, but there's two problems with that. One is the fact that we already do that and it doesn't work. So, and two is the fact that old people are not gonna, if they don't hear the beeping, they're definitely not gonna look at the screen. So,
what I want to do with this segment is let's come up with some solutions for this. Let's come up with some ways that that we can make card readers more old people friendly, as we'll say it.
no, it's well, okay, so here's the thing. The best way I think to make the card readers more old people friendly is to move away from the insert type, because right now most cards are the type where you have to insert it into a slot and then you leave it there for like a few seconds while it processes and then you have to take it
Yeah.
out. And it always tells you, once you put it in there, it tells you to not remove it because it has to stay in there while it processes. So it'll say don't remove card, and then after it's done it'll say okay, now you can remove the card. I think that the best way to counter it, because the issue here, right, is the fact that people are putting their card in, being told not to remove it, and then not realizing when it's done and they can remove it. I think the best solution
Sounds- okay.
I think the best
So
solution
if they just leave it in there, and it's like that, no one tells them, they're just gonna keep it in there forever. Like, how long will they stay there, like thinking they're not able to remove it?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Like, if every employee just never like tapped their shoulder and told them, like, how long do you think they would stay there?
Well, I mean, if they never realized that they could remove it, like they never heard the beeping and they never read the message on the screen that says remove card, like assuming they didn't see any of that and they just stood there, they would probably stand there for like a few minutes at least, just standing there like wondering when their card is going to be done. And then eventually one of two things will probably happen. Either they'll just get tired of it and decide, you know what, screw it, and just take the card out anyway because they are tired of waiting, or they'll like go get someone, an employee of the store, and be like, hey, the machine is stuck, I think. I can't take my card out. And it's like, it's there beeping with the message, please remove card. And they're like, I can't take my card out.
Yeah, the thing with this meme is like whenever I picture this scenario, what I imagine happens is like once they like insert the card, that's when their mind just goes hollow. They're just like
They just become an empty shell of themselves. Their soul just
become an
leaves
empty
their
shell.
body.
and they just enter it. It's like,
Yeah. So knowing that, like with that, I think the best way to like make it more old people friendly is to get rid of the system where you have to leave the card in until you take it out and go back to the
I will say, a lot of card readers nowadays will have the option to like tap.
Yeah, and
Like, tap
there's a whole nother thing with that because a lot of old people don't actually realize that you can do that. And so what'll happen, and this
Because
is
it is fairly new, to be
yeah,
fair.
this
So
is
it's
this
like,
is another
anything
thing.
that's new, you gotta give old people at least a decade to catch up.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe more.
This is another thing that I had firsthand experience with working at Publix because they would come in and a lot of the time either they would like try to swipe it like the old way that you used to do it because that's what they, are more used to because that's the older way. And it wouldn't work because most cards these days don't like for you to swipe them and it'll tell you to insert them instead. Or they'll be inserting them and it's not working. It'll have like an error and say like it can't read it. And so we'll tell them to like try and tap it on the tap point because all the Publix registers have a place where you can tap it. And a lot of the newer cards will have the ability to tap it. And so we tell them to tap it on there and then they do it and it works. And they're just like, their mind is blown. They have no idea. They're like,
What?
they
Do that?
it's literally they're like, I had no idea that my card could do that.
I had no idea. This changes everything we know.
You mean I can just you mean I can just put it right there and it just works? That's genuinely how it goes. So like maybe the solution for making it more old people friendly is to just have the tap be like the standard method. Just get rid of the ability to insert and just have it always be tapping. And like eventually once they can't insert the cards anymore, they'll be forced to learn the tap method.
We're gonna force them to learn.
Yeah. You gotta get with the times.
Sit down, old man. Look how this works. Look at it. Look at it.
You get to say they're living in the past. We're about to go destroy the past and drag them into the future.
The future is now, old man.
What I feel like saying to my dad on a daily basis.
Get with the times, old man. That's fine.
Yeah, my dad's one of those people who likes to talk about how he was alive back in the time when dial-up internet was all they had.
No one cares, bag of bones.
You need to make a short out of this segment just so I can send it to him.
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. Listen up. The future is now.
The solution.
If you think it's scary, then how about you just make a time machine and go back in the past? The future is now. It's not letting no one catch up. If you can't catch up, then I guess we're just gonna leave you behind. Yeah.
So to answer your question, chat, the solution to making the card readers in grocery stores and restaurants more old people friendly is to force them into the future and use the newer method that's easier.
The best way to be old people friendly is to force old people to learn against their will.
Yeah. The best way to be old people friendly.
Physical. This is all to be old people friendly.
The best way to be old people friendly is to be old people not friendly.
Just like beat them to death with a textbook on the subject.
You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn how to use it, and you're gonna like it.
Just crush them with a bookshelf. This is all to be old people friendly. Boom.
For legal reasons, this is a joke and is only for satire, and the To Whom It May Concern podcast and the people who exist on here do not condone physically assaulting the elderly.
This is a good episode. I like this.
Yeah, we went from why Disney movies are bad to how to make old people be able to use new technology.
Alright. We're gonna title this episode 5 aggressive ways to be old people friendly.
5 aggressive ways to be old people friendly. Just put friendly in quotation marks.
No, not even quotations. We're gonna. What if I put old people into quotations?
implying that they're not actually old.
Or no, how about we say put people in quotes?
Implying that
everybody knows once you become old, you're not actually a person anymore.
Yeah.
You're just a weird entity.
Well, once you get over a certain age, you just lose your humanity. You're no longer human.
You lose your title as human.
There's 2 different species. There's humans and then there's old people. They're different things.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it genuinely feels like that, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like, how do we share the same human body parts? Like, how is that possible? Like, how do we share a brain? How do we share a heart?
Okay, if you shared a brain with someone, I don't think that would be, a very pleasant experience.
Or like not like every brain is different, but like the brain organ, like as an organ, we share the same organ.
You have the same general design concept.
Yes. And that actually transitions into our next topic perfectly. So this is a hypothetical for you, Steven.
Oh, how I love hypotheticals.
Yeah, and it has to do with the general construct of a body, but with a different twist. So, it's hypothetical. Let's say you found out that you were going to grow a third arm. You were going to grow just a third arm.
You walked into the Chernobyl plant. Now you're going to grow a third arm.
Sure. and let's say you could determine where that third arm would be grown. Where would you want that third arm to be on your body?
Okay, so in order to look at this in the most effective way possible, what we need to do is determine what sort of utility would a third arm provide. The main advantage to having a third arm, because you think of the utility that your regular arms and hands are able to provide you, right? The main utility for a third arm would just be an increase to what you can do with your arms and hands. You'd have 3 hands.
Well, why? That's what you would want it for, right?
Right.
You would want it to have as most utility as possible.
So you have 3 you would have 3 hands, so you can do 3 things instead of 2 that require 1 hand. You think of increased carrying capacity because you can carry more things at once.
You're gonna be a grocery carrying god.
Yes, you will always be able to get all of the groceries in one trip.
Yes.
So, in light of that...
No. If you can get all the groceries with 2 hands, you can have the third one to open the door.
Yeah. And so in order to think about what maximum utility we could get from a third arm, you think about the limitations of the 2-arm system. What weak points does the 2-arm system have? What are the things that you mainly can't do with 2 arms? Right, what's the limitations there? Obviously, carrying capacity is one big one, because if you're carrying a lot of things, sometimes you might not be able to open the door, right? There's also a thing with reach, because our arms are attached to the main body the human body is roughly symmetrical, so where you can reach.
Keep in mind, this third arm is also going to go on your body, so reaching will still be an issue. Unless you want to put your third arm at the end of this and
just have an extended arm.
If you want to do that, that's an option.
But I was thinking more in terms of like if you had your arm somewhere, like let's say you grew an arm out of like the top of your head, right? It's going to have a slightly extended reach from like
Okay.
It's a little bit of a niche case, but it would be possible. But I don't think that's the main issue.
How you gotta think about this though. Beds, like what? Like how would sleeping work?
You could just
With the arm at your head, because like
you could just put it to like the
you
side.
wouldn't be able to have like a back to the bed anymore. Like you wouldn't be able to have a bed against the wall.
Well,
like,
you could just
arm would just hit the wall.
you could just lay the arm to like the side, you know. But I think that if you were going to have a third arm, the best place to have it be would be level with like your shoulders, but on your back, center of the back. So it would, the disadvantages of this would of course be you wouldn't really be able to lay on your back that well because you'd have an arm there. But
it'd be discomforting.
It would be a bit discomforting, but you get increased carrying capacity. You get a greatly extended rearward reach range, because one of the main disadvantages for the human arms is we have a lot of trouble reaching behind us. A third arm that's mounted on the back,
like would be like is a pain, but like yeah, that is a good point. Like having an arm in the back, now you can like wash your back.
Yeah,
like,
it would make for a good reach in the back. Not only could you reach like the back parts of your body a little bit better, you could also reach things that are behind you a little bit better. Also, without having to like turn around or anything like that. But you also have to realize how much problem that would cause for like current infrastructure that we have, because think of how many different types of chair that you wouldn't be able to sit in anymore if you had that.
That's another good point. I whenever I think about this and people tell me they put it in the back, I'm like, what about beds though? But that's a good point. What about chairs? I'm sitting in a chair right now, so are you. It's like,
which is why
it'd be easy though. I feel like it'd be easy though to create customized chairs.
You could, yes, and it yes.
room for that.
You could have customized chairs, and that would solve some of the problem. But I also have a secondary idea for a location, is you could have it in the same spot, but on the front somewhere instead. You don't get the increased behind reach capacity, but it doesn't interfere with laying down on a bed or sitting in a chair, and you still get both increased carrying capacity and the ability to have three hands that can access the front of you, because thing you have to think about with the hand on the back is it's not going to be able to access in front of you, so you're still limited to two hands for doing activities that you would do in front of you. So like, if you're playing games.
But let's say we can increase the utility of that though. Let's say instead of having it in the back, what if it's in the front, like right here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you had a front arm, then the advantage over the back arm would be the increased utility of having three hands in the front. So you could use three hands at once to do like normal tasks where you would be facing what you're doing. So like imagine the advantage that you could have in PC games, for example. Because like imagine how you play PC games, right? You have your one hand on the keyboard and then one hand on the mouse. You have a limited amount of keys that you can reach at one time with one hand. If you had a second hand that could also be on the keyboard, then your keyboard usage, and not even for gaming, this could be a good thing for productivity as well. You could potentially type faster. Imagine if you had another full set of 5 fingers that were able to type. If you could coordinate 3 hands across the keyboard at the same time, your typing speed could be greatly increased.
And that makes me think of another thing too. Let's say we go this route. Like, how many sports do you think would this be an advantage of? Like, think basketball.
Yeah.
Dribbling with 3 arms.
The 3-arm dribble. Or like imagine football.
Imagine football.
Yeah.
Imagine in football being able to like run with the ball in one hand and then be able to tackle, like push away people with the other.
Because think of if you held the ball with like the center arm, right? You could like hold it in the front of you, and you still have 2 full arms that are fully capable of like tackling and like defending. Like you can push people away and stuff like that. Like it would be very.
The issue with that, however, is you would need a custom jersey to like create a hole.
But I mean that wouldn't really be too hard to make though. You could easily do that. And like in terms of clothing in general, you could probably get like, you know, custom clothing made or just cut holes in them. It wouldn't really be that hard to make happen.
Yeah.
But
And like if the arm is right here, let's say you need surgery on like your lungs or your heart or rib cage or somewhere around here, they're going to need to cut around that arm and potentially even cut off the arm.
Like, I
to
mean,
reach it.
Okay, well, here's the thing, because like you can choose where you want to. Like the original question was, you know that you're getting a third arm, and if you could choose where to have it, it doesn't necessarily have to be centered like right on your chest or something like that. You could have it like anywhere on your general.
Let's say it's right here. Let's say it's right here.
You could put it on the side of your
that's actually a better design. Like,
yeah, because you could put it on the side of your dominant hand, right? And then it would
just
like
one example we were talking about was like the grocery example. If the arm's in your back, then like how are you gonna be able to like you're gonna have to like turn back against the door in order to open it.
Yeah.
Like walk backwards.
Now that's probably the way to go, is to have the arm on the front side so that you can basically increase your like hand utility. But I did have a third idea for where to put it, which is, this is a little bit of a niche case, but some people might actually prefer this. Imagine if you had the arm on one of your legs, it could access the ground. Or low down objects much more easily without you having to bend over, and this would be specifically helpful for older people or people who just have trouble bending down and stuff like that, because you would basically.
So the arm would be like at the knee or something.
Yeah, basically like that. It would be able to.
They would reach down and then reach up and then grab it.
Yeah, and so like your regular arm could reach the arm down there pretty easily without you having to bend over. So if you need to like pick something up off the ground, for example, you could do it pretty easily by just like passing it up, just by doing that. Obviously, the total utility that you would get out of it would be a little bit less, but in certain situations, it could be useful for not even just picking stuff up off the ground, but just, you know, accessing things that are lower down without having to bend over.
Here's the conundrum. Think soccer. The big rule with soccer is you can only use your feet to kick the ball.
You just
would the arm be considered part of the feet? And could you theoretically grab it?
Because the rule in soccer is you can't use your hands, right? Because like you can still use other parts of your body to do it. Because like you see people using their head.
Let's say they're using this. Let's say they're using this to like adjust the ball and you kick it.
Yeah, that might be legal. I don't remember the exact rules of soccer on if you're allowed to use your arms or not. I just know hands are out of the question.
Yeah, let's look through the rule book to see specifically arms on legs.
Yeah. We gotta update the soccer rule book for specifically an arm that is on a leg. Because like we would assume that the arm would have a hand on it, and that hand would probably not be allowed to touch the ball because it is a hand still. So you'd have to be mindful of that. But
yeah,
there still could be an argument to be made that, like, you know, if it was the arm only and not the hands, then you could use it. Like, it would make it easier to, like, you know, adjust the angle that you want to kick the ball at.
Yeah. So I don't really know where else you could put it. What if you put the arm at the bottom of your feet and you like? If you had two arms?
How would that work?
At the bottom of your feet, you gain the height.
Well, I mean, but hands aren't designed for balance like feet are, though. It's like you got to realize the design of the foot is specifically.
Well, I feel like if it was stuck directly at the bottom of your feet, you'd be used to it, and you can basically just do a handstand everywhere.
You probably could get used to it.
If you build the strength for it, you can do that. I feel like.
Yeah, you might be able to. Like, there still might be a question of balance, just because hands are just not designed to be stood on, and so don't have the same balancing capabilities. But if you got used to it, it might be workable. But you're still probably gonna have an inherently lower like balance than everybody. It would be easier to lose your balance.
Right.
So that's something to consider.
That's just a thought. That was just a thought. What if you had? I don't know.
This is a very interesting topic. I like this hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's like leave a comment below if you're watching this episode. Leave a comment if you knew you were gonna get a third arm and you could choose where you want it to be. Where would you want it to be?
I have one final idea. What if the arm comes out of your nose like it's an elephant trunk?
Okay, what's the viability? What's the viability for that? I mean, I guess
there's a lot that you can do. Like, you know how elephants like are able to like let's say you're like arrested. What are they gonna realistically do to constrain your like elephant trunk hand?
Well, okay, but like that same argument could be made for any location. To be fair, like you could make that argument for an extra hand anywhere because they're not
well, the thing with the other hands is like, let's say the arm is right here, they could just like constrain it to like part of your body, but like with an arm out of your face, what could they realistically do?
I mean, they could still constrain because like imagine it's here, you could have it like constrained like here or here or something like that, or like if your hands are behind your back like here. There's ways that you could probably do it. It would be harder for sure, but
like I feel like if the arm is like constrained, there's still like an opening, so you could still put people in a chokehold if you want. Like there's gonna be an opening, right?
I mean, technically, you could do a behind the back choke. Can you do a chokehold in handcuffs? I'm sure.
Well, I mean, if it's behind your hands, no. But like, let's say it's like this, then you can definitely like grab someone and just like, brah.
Yeah.
Like behind the back, it might be a little hard. Like you might be able to.
I feel like somebody probably has.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like having it come out of your face would offer the same advantages as having it come out of somewhere on the front of your body, while having the disadvantage of the fact that it's on your face.
Well, it doesn't have to be like it could be a very scrawny arm. We never specified how big the arm is.
Or just have like an arm that's extra swole compared to your normal ones. You can just punch people.
And like I think what I was thinking with the back one. Let's say someone is like trying to like rob you, or like try to like grab you, or like capture you from behind.
And you just take the arm, you just take the back arm,
punch them back.
You just bitch slap them
from behind, just like pop.
Whoosh.
Yeah, that's.
It makes me think of a particular Pokemon. If you've seen it, the Pokemon Machamp. I don't know. This discussion makes me think of it. Here, I'll get a picture for you.
All right. And this arms discussion, this is also loosely based on a character in Mortal Kombat 11 called the Collector, who has two arms in the back and he uses to like carry a backpack.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
It's similar. Here, let me send you this. There we go.
I'm also going to send you something, which is the Collector from Mortal Kombat.
I'm gonna laugh if they look like basically the same thing.
They kind of.
Yeah. Yeah,
they even got the same skin tone.
Yeah, that's very similar.
I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna put these pictures up before we just sent.
So these are the pictures there's the Collector from Mortal Kombat and then the Pokemon Machamp. And that's kind of characters that embody this discussion that we're having of having extra arms.
And they're blue for some reason. Actually, the funny thing about the Collector, he has 6 arms. One, like 2 of them are kind of protruding like further back on the
I see.
And the other 2 are directly in the back, just like carrying a thing.
Yeah, no, I see what you're talking. He has like two really small ones in the
Yeah,
back.
2 scrawny arms. Yeah, exactly.
But that's against the rules. That's 4 extra arms. That's more than we're allowed to have.
I forgot he had those other arms. I was just thinking about the arms he had in the back, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's yeah, pictures on screen.
Also, I never realized this. What's up with his legs?
With who? The
collector's legs.
Oh yeah, they.
I just realized they kind of like his knees kind of like
it's just
his calf
disjointed.
go like back. Yeah, it's disjointed. I don't know how I never realized that. But like, those extra arms at the back that carrying the backpack. Outside of that, what other use do you think they could use for that? Like 2 extra arms in the back.
I don't know. Like obviously you can reach your back more easily. Like what you said, washing your back would be a good way to do it, or a good use for it. And then I guess you could open doors behind you. Reach things behind you more easily. Or if somebody was trying to take that backpack, you could just give him a nice little smack.
Yeah, like the arms on top of the other arms, their joints seem to be reversed, so they could like reach back as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
grab
probably, yeah.
What are you looking at, Steven?
I'm looking at the picture of the collector.
Oh,
I have it pulled up on my phone.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were looking at snacks or something.
What? What? Why? Why would you assume that?
I'm sorry.
Why would you?
All right.
Yeah, I just watch that kind of stuff on a daily basis,
No, I said text.
During the podcast.
No, I said text. What do you think I said?
Something else.
Okay. That aside,
we're just gonna move on. I have one other topic, but like I said, I really, really want you to be like knowledgeable on this for us to talk about. So I'm gonna move it to next episode.
You guys gotta give me my homework so I can do it.
Yeah, unless you've already seen this video, in which I don't know, but we'll talk about it next time. But one final thing is just gonna be a little tiny topic. I was gonna talk about this at the beginning, but I felt like at the beginning, we wasted a lot of time derailing that. I just wanted to get to the beefier topics first, but
yeah.
I just want to give a little rant. I think I've ranted about this before about Wendy's being confused for Arby's.
Oh yeah, you have talked about this before.
But there's a new type of confusion going around, and that's with the so at our Wendy's. We're right next to Arby's, and the signs of Arby's and Wendy's, they are right next to each other. And the Arby's sign has a deal going on for 2 for $5 wraps, like chicken wraps. That's a deal that they have, but we don't. Like, we have chicken wraps, but we don't have that deal of 2 for $5.
So, like, people are confusing the 2 for $5 that it's for Wendy's instead of Arby's.
Yeah, because the signs are next to each other, they think it's our sign saying that.
But your sign says you have 2 for $5.
Exactly. That's exactly what we gotta be dealing with. Of just like someone was like, "Can I get 2 wraps?" And then we're like, "All right, that's $16." And they're like, "Wait. I thought it was gonna be $5."
False advertising.
And we're like, "No, that's for Arby's. It's over there. We have the sign that says our own thing. That's their sign."
So, like, is the 2 for $5, like, how is it positioned in relation to the 2 signs? Is it like...
I wish I had a photo of this. After this episode, I might drive...
I need to get gas for my car, but afterwards, I will drive over there. I will give you a picture. And in editing, if I remember this, I'll also put it up on screen. Like what the 2 signs look like right next to each other. So it's like, I can feasibly understand how some people might get confused, but also like our sign has our slogan, "Quality is our recipe." So it's like, if you look at it long enough, you can tell which one's which. If you look at the base of the sign, you can see which one's on their yard and which one is on our yard.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, people don't usually follow like the base of the sign, just like as a general rule, it's not what people naturally do. But I'm also thinking of like, because most of the time when restaurants are doing deals like that and they advertise them on their sign, they'll usually have them like underneath the logo or the name of the restaurant. And so if the signs are next to each other, then I would assume that
okay. The thing that has like the signs are here and then the logos are all the way up there.
yeah.
So it's like.
But I'm thinking in terms of like,
if you're driving a drive-through and you're looking at the signs in your car, you're not gonna be able to look up to the logo up there. So it's like it's still stupid, but I can kind of see how people get
so you
confused.
mean it's like the sign that says like 2 for $5 wraps is on the bottom part of the sign?
Like, you know the little white box?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like it's in the middle of that. Like it's there, and then like the other sign is on our side is directly in front of that. So it's like they're just very close by together. So it's like people will look at their sign because in many respects it is brighter than our sign.
I'm trying to visualize in my head how this looks from like someone driving past in a car.
Again, I will take a.
I need to see a picture. I need to see a picture of it.
Yeah, I will take. I'll show. After this episode, I'm gonna get gas for my car, and then I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna take a picture of it and send it to you. And like I said, I'll have it in the video, so you can see it. But yeah, that's what's been happening, and that's like. Every time I hear someone order 2 wraps, like I'm hesitant to make it because I'm like, wait a minute. Do they actually want these wraps or do they want the 2 for $5 thing at Arby's?
They should tell like the cashier, and like it's really stupid that they would have to do this, but they should have the cashiers tell people like if they're ordering 2 wraps, just tell them, hey, by the way, the 2 for $5 deal is not us, that's Arby's. Just before you order, just be aware of that.
Yeah. So it's like I do have to like be cautious. I'm like, wait, do they actually want these from us, or do they want the Arby's one? Like, it's one of those things where it's like that's why it's frustrating because like that shouldn't be something I have to worry about, but it's like it is.
No, it's like that's not something that you should have to say.
With their new items, Wendy's has to do it for some reason. Like.
The Arby's is just trying to drive Wendy's out of business.
I mean, it's not that they're driving us out of business. It's just like they're just creating minor inconveniences for us.
Like, do you ever like wonder if it's even remotely possible that Arby's is actually doing like little things like this on purpose because they know that it confuses people?
Oh no. I put more of the blame on Wendy's for like, cause I'm pretty sure after Arby's came out with chicken wraps, we came out with chicken wraps. So I put more of the blame on us more than anything. So that's that. That's what I think.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it just. I mean. I think it's also not entirely reliable to trust the like outside restaurant sign to give you accurate information in terms of like what deals are happening, because sometimes those signs don't get changed. Sometimes they forget to be changed, and they'll have stuff on there that's like outdated or just wrong. And so like obviously that's not really an excuse for having, well, it's not that Wendy's has wrong information, because they don't. It's not Wendy's fault. But
I don't even know what we have on our sign at the moment. I think it's something about our Frosty or something.
And then how do people mistake the signs then? Because a Frosty is a Wendy's thing. Arby's doesn't have Frosties.
That's another thing. Hold on. That's another thing too. I don't understand. People all the time will come to us like, "Can I get a milkshake?" And I'm like.
You mean a Frosty?
Like, you mean Frosty? Like, Wendy's is known. They're famous for the Frosty. How are you thinking that we have milkshakes?
It's like, because
Like
if
Frosties
the
and
sign,
milkshakes are not the same thing.
if the sign says Frosty, and like obviously Frosty is a Wendy's
I
thing.
think it says. I'm not entirely sure it says that. I just want to make that
I'm just
clear.
saying. I'm just saying if it says that. If it says that, like obviously Frosty is a Wendy's thing. If you see Frosty on a sign, that sign is for Wendy's. And if they're right next to each other, you can assume the other sign is for whatever's right next door, whether it be an Arby's or something else. Like, it tells you, if you have two signs for two different restaurants that are right next to each other, you know which one is for Wendy's, because if it says Frosty on it, then that's going to be the one for Wendy's. Like, how do people mess that up?
Oh no, that's people be dumb.
Yeah, that's
People
just
be big dumb.
more examples of customers in the wild being NPCs.
In the wild.
Yeah, that's what we used to call them at Publix. When Publix customers, everyone there used to call them NPCs.
That's crazy. All right, so with that, I think that's the episode. I think
Yeah.
it's an episode. What do you think?
I enjoyed this episode. This was a real
It's
good
one
one.
of our good ones. Like
Yeah.
last week's episode, I'm gonna be the first to admit. Last week's episode was a little rough. It was just like we hadn't done it in a while, and we were just trying to like.
I feel like we just didn't really talk about that much. We went over like a few kind of mediocre topics, and then we got to like the lyrical analysis.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the lyrical analysis was fun, but I feel
like it was a lot less in terms like
there wasn't
lot
as much
less
meat. There wasn't as much meat in it.
Yeah. The last week's episode was a son of a baconator. This episode was the quadruple baconator.
Yeah, pretty much. That is good.
I've worked at Wendy's for too long. I'm starting to use Wendy's terms to describe things. Someone put me down.
And one more thing I'm gonna mention before we go. I want to mention this on the podcast, just for the non-existent viewers. I am actually gonna be heading home today, as a matter of fact, because as you all know, tomorrow is the 4th of July. So there's a holiday. So I'm not gonna be flying for.
Day for Americans.
Yeah, America. America!
America! Yeah! Red, white, blue, baby!
Screw the metric system!
I don't know what kilometer is! Woo!
I only speak freedom units!
I love paying $8 for gas! Woo!
Whoa! Hamburgers!
Yeah! Political division! Woo! And as always, please like and subscribe for another patriotic episode.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. False alarm.
Yeah, false alarm. Okay, so yeah, I'll try and make it quick. So anyway, tomorrow's the 4th of July. Because of that, I'm not gonna be having any flying for the rest of the week. So I'm actually gonna be coming home for the weekend, or I'm coming home today rather, and I'm gonna be staying for the weekend. I would like to ask you officially, Will, in front of all of our viewers, if at some point over the weekend you would like to have a Mario Kart challenge.
I am going to be working, so there's that.
Yeah.
So I would have to like be there in the morning. So it's like, and you know me, I'm not a morning person.
Well, neither am I, to be fair.
So
are you working like every day?
Yeah, I'm working during the weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got like Thursday and Friday, so.
Well, my week is actually different. This week, I actually have today off and Thursday, but Friday at work.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. Like, but yeah, Thursday. If you're not, is your family doing anything for 4th of July?
I think we're just like having burgers. I think that's kind of all we're doing. So
And if you want to come down, me and Dad, we're having people over. So if you want to come down, we're having a dinner, like 4th of July dinner. So if you want to come down and
I
hang out,
might I might. It depends.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, we can. Yeah, I would love to have you down here. We might make a 4th of July short. We
yeah, I'm
might.
gonna do a so yeah, keep an eye out for that chat. 4th of July short. Damn, I have ruined my voice with all of the Murica.
Yeah.
My voice is ruined for the rest of the day.
Your voice is ready for the rest of your life.
Well, I mean that happened the moment I was born.
Okay. Alright. So, are we ready to close the episode this time?
Yeah, I was going to issue the Mario Kart challenge on the episode because I thought I could tell the chat, sorry, the viewers, to look forward to it because we might make a video out of it. But
Yeah.
yes, sorry about that, guys.
Okay. Here's what if we did this? What if you brought a TV and your Wii to Wendy's, plugged it up, and then during my 30-minute break, we have a tiny little tournament.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so stay tuned, everyone, for the Wendy's Mario Kart episode, where I am going to destroy Will once again in the game that he claims that he is good at.
No. That's not gonna happen.
I'm going to absolutely demolish him. It's not even gonna be close. It's gonna be decided by like the 20th race because there's 32 races. So yeah, it's gonna be decided like 5 races before the end, and there's gonna be no climax. It's just gonna be me on top the whole time. This is
no. That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna come in with competition. Yeah. Because I got 5 beer, boy.
One day
Yeah.
it will happen. And as always, please like and subscribe for another episode of To Whom It May Concern. Murica.
Yeah.